Hello and welcome back to the Mindtrack.net game server. This will be a pre-build update, number 5 for the Enterprise E build, or anyways the pre-build for it. Been going through here, I've been working on these escape hatches. I think I finally got the placement where they look the best. Didn't take too much extra work, just had to move some of the ones that are forward of us here back a bit, and what I'm doing now is I'm sort of outlining the space or the area around the hatch door itself here for the lower levels, make it a little bit easier to see. I'll get back to that in a minute. Show you here what I did. These ones I went ahead and just made them square because I wasn't sure what we were planning on doing, but yeah, got them all placed, and let's pop out here. You can see them better from up here. What I did is I moved them back one and in just a bit, and it made it tighter to the strip so they don't look so far out. Granted, they're still away in most cases from the strip, which is fine. They should match around just fine for the halls and stuff like that. The halls, the corridors. If they don't, I'll adjust that here in a second. Oops, I forgot to post that I'm recording. Anywho, but as you can see, I have 3 facing to the starboard and then 2 facing forward, and actually that looks really good. I also went through and placed windows on top of a corridor. Let me get through here. On top of this corridor, and don't mind this. This is just here as a marker because I'm going to put a lift through here on the bottom side. I just wanted to have the pattern for where I wanted it. So this is actually a corridor, and as you can see, the windows are lined with the corridor's front part because I need to have some distance between these windows and the windows that'll be in this room here, and if I put them on this end they'll be like 1 block away, and it wouldn't look right, so they need to go forward. Also, when you look out here, that's where they look like they are on the actual model above us here. So right at this point they switch from facing forward to facing port, and I think that's a nice clean break right there. It's really hard, I mean, with again, Minecraft, square blocks, round holes, so we have to work within the Minecraft physics. But this is a Jeffries tube, phaser strip, Jeffries tube corridor, and as you can see here, it lends itself well to the size of these rooms here. These are pretty much, they're all uniform in size, so they're all pretty much got the same exact square footage, with the exception of this room here is a little bit bigger. And I think the one on this side all the way forward here might be a little bit bigger than its counterpart. But yeah, you can see that it actually uses the space really well, and I'll continue this pattern around the front, and I may also do it through this section here. This is all listed as crew quarters, but we may repurpose these areas. So, but I want to have them set up in case, you know, they are decided to be turned into crew quarters. So, because all we have to do to repurpose them is remove the walls. I did not move this one back, like I was talking about doing up here. I decided to go ahead and keep it where it was at. Moving it back really didn't serve any point, and it made it really difficult for what I needed to do down here, and so on. So I decided to just go ahead and leave it where it was at. I also moved, Imheller had a security deck. On the deck plans, the security deck's up higher. It's like, I think on this deck, right, actually this deck right here. And there's a lot more real estate on this deck than the SD plans show. So I went ahead and ideally the security area should be located dead center of the ship, and I thought about putting it there and then moving the actually I was going to put it on this deck here, put it down here on this deck, and then put the security hollow suite over here where it's too high. This again is escape pod, but that's what I ran into when I went to do that. I ran into these escape pods, so I couldn't do it. So, because this underneath here is all cargo bay. I'll show you here real quick. See, it's all cargo bay down here. And so what I did is I just moved the security deck here. And on the other side, on the port side, when we go to do the port side, we can do something else over there. And again, you could have another small holodeck, but what I'm thinking is put a medical complex over there and make the holodeck like a the pattern for the holodeck over there would be like a medical holodeck, a recuperative holodeck, or whatever you want to call it, therapy, whatever. I can't, for the life of me, I can't think of what it's called. Physical therapy holodeck. Yeah, there we go. But I kept the cell patterns, and of course we can add another brig further on down the ship on another deck. I think there's another brig and section for the ship, and that one will be dead center, dead beam. So, but I went through here and I made this entire security complex kind of an outline, just as a proof of concept. And here's like a little auditorium. Now this can be made a lot larger. This, I just put these walls here just for whatever reason, but it can be made a lot larger. This, actually, these can be removed, which is probably what I'll do. In fact, I'll just go ahead and do that right now. Just go ahead and bump sheets out there, not needed. Whoops. So we have a big auditorium now. And again, you know, put another auditorium or whatever in here, but I think right below us is the big cargo bay, and I extended the cargo bay. As you can see, it is a lot bigger now. This is just one of the cargo bays, but on the Voyager there's an entire deck dedicated to the cargo deck. I would love to try and incorporate that on this at the same level on the Sovereign as on the Voyager. But ideally, there I said that word again. Ideally speaking, I don't know if it's practical or not. I'm going to try, because Lord knows, I mean, we can incorporate the hangar and everything else to feed directly into it. So it'd be an interesting challenge. Then again, you know, we may not go that route. Also, according to the deck plans, the torpedo launcher actually sits on top of the ship, like right here. And so it's something like this. And this is just me putting the pattern here for what the torpedo launcher thingy looks like. And it basically, it fires out, like up and out from like right here. So actually the hatch for it would be right there. So, but so I had to, oops, we got to put a torpedo launcher in here. So this cannot be a cargo bay. It has to be either a torpedo bay, a torpedo launcher, or a torpedo launcher and magazine. So this area is going to, I'm going to have to talk to Em about what we need to do here, because this floor can actually come out, and that'll give us an extra height for the torpedo launcher right there. So this actually may not work. We might actually have to end this right here, and then make this, and then just like have a hatch here for the torpedoes to come up into it. And then this would just be torpedo launcher, magazine. So that's going to have to require some work and some thought. And as far as down here goes, I can easily redo this so that this hallway here is not actually here. This is more like a lounge area and stuff like that. But again, that's something I'll talk to Em about. I also routed a bunch of these power taps and stuff like that, so they're all routed through there and up, actually down through here and everything else. So they go all the way forward, and they come all the way to this section here, and then kind of come through here. This can all be changed, but I assume that this is probably how they would be routed, because you have to put power to the core. So that'd be the way to do it. And then I also have another one right there. So, and then it can branch off from here or wherever, and you can actually, if you wanted to, just go right along here, right along this upper part here. It would be out of the way, we wouldn't see it, and it would be part of the wall. And again, if it needed to, it can go down or up from right here along the Jeffries tubes, or the turbolifts. So, but we'll run back over here real quick. I like how this looks. It actually got that pattern in pretty nicely, as you can see on the upper right. The screen shows it pretty good there. I also extended the lift over this corridor, because before it ended here and then went down, what I did is I extended it, and now it's going to go down, and then when it gets here it'll go forward. Actually, it'll go at an angle to this, and then it'll go around the ship on this level here, which is the hangar level. But then again, it may not. I may actually change my mind on that again, because I have to see how it's going to look in the ship and if that's practical or not. So The phaser strip, so to be this deck right here. And as you can see, there's escape pod stuff here already. So when we merged the ship, I was thinking, well, if there's escape pod stuff here, we can have them enter the escape pods from this side. Or we could put the lift on this side, so the lift could actually come forward again and then go around the ship. You know, it's half a dozen one, 10 to a dozen the other is what we choose to do there. But since this is pretty much dead space here, and if there's crew quarters or whatever here, we're not going to get a lot of use out of this area other than support struts, which is most likely what we're going to do with all the 1 and 2 spaces. They'll just be turned into support struts, like something like that, because we don't want to. Emma was saying that that strategic actually planned for those spaces to be used that way. So we should go ahead and use them that way. You know I came through here and I cleaned this hall myself, so having little spots like that kind of irked me that I missed them. I put in cleaning on this hall. I remember, God, a year, 2 years ago, coming in here, you see these little blue markers? This was my marker telling me that I had actually cleaned this section of the hall. This is back before we had the external method of doing it. We had to go through and shave all the interior edges off from the inside. And I'm the one that did the major bulk of the saucer section of this ship, and I think I did most of the secondary drive as well. I can't, to be honest with you, I don't really recall, it's been so long, but I know I worked on this whole area here, and it drove me nuts. It took me months, because I just couldn't do it. I'd work on it for a while, I was like, okay, I'm done, and off I'd go. So, yeah, you hit burnout on when you work on it, so I'm much happier with the new method where we do the outside and then just get rid of all the extra blocks in a single, command. So to me that makes it so much easier. We're able to get so much more work done. Yeah, this ship will not separate. From this point forward, ships from this class beyond will no longer separate. They will all be single ship hulls. If you have any questions about that, talk to him, Heller. He's got all the tech specs to support it, and I totally agree with him. Although I do think it's cool to set up a ship that can separate. I know the Odyssey does because I've done it in STO, and it looks really cool when it does separate, but I'm not a fan of the separation point of the saucer or this drive section separating from the primary hull and stuff like that. I think that's a horrible engineering point thing. You build a naval ship, and half the naval ship isn't going to detach from the other half of the ship. That's just asinine. But in space, different story, different rules. So, but I'm glad to see that we're not going to be using those rules on this ship here. Then again, like I said, we'll probably build 2 versions. One version that does and one version that doesn't, but the one that doesn't will be the first one done. So, when you sit here and you look at that, I mean, it's pretty impressive looking. The Sovereign class is a huge ship. Not huge, but a very large ship. Very long. Very sleek. It's by far one of my favorite ship designs next to the original movie Enterprise. And I gotta say, I've grown fond of the Enterprise B, especially when I started working on it. I had no hope that that ship would ever turn out as well as it has. And I gotta say, I was really happy that it turned out well. But the Sovereign's was just a beautiful design, start to finish. And I was sitting here, and we've been waiting patiently to work on it until we felt we were in a place where if we could prove it with the Defiant and the Voyager that we could step up our game, then we would go ahead and start work on this ship here, which is the next one in line, because the D's already, the D was the ship that started it all. It's one of the first epic large Minecraft builds, and M works on that with Blue, and I tell you, I've been over there, I've done a lot of work on it myself. If I had to redo the Galaxy, a lot of things would be done differently, but overall, redoing the Galaxy just is not an undertaking that anybody is remotely interested in doing. So that's why they work on the current ship, and they've had nothing, just a huge headache doing that Cobra head, and then having to merge it back with the primary hull and stuff like that. It's just going to be a real pain for him to do. No, I think that's why he decided, no more. You know, the Galaxy does separate, so that has to be done. But the rest of these ships, no. You know, we make the call. This is post-Nemesis era, and it makes a very good technical argument as to why this ship does not separate. And I look at it, you know, and I see now how it would separate, but when I was building it, building the hull and everything else on this ship originally, not this one, but the one I did, I tell you, I was going bonkers trying to figure out how to do that saucer separation. I got it because of the plans, don't get me wrong, but everything else, it was just, I was like, if we ever redid this, I don't know how we would do it, honestly. And so I had to put it, when I was masking this, the interior of this hull, I had to put a shit ton, excuse my language, of thought into how I would do it. And that's where this line comes from. This whole section here is the separation point for this ship. On this side is the drive section. On this side is the, you know, non-drive section. So basically what would happen is this section here and this section here is dead space. Well, not dead space. There'd be a phaser strip here and a bunch of top detail, but this is the, this right here would be the top part of the hull for, actually the hull itself would be this yellow layer, and then the bottom hull of this section would be this layer right there, and this space in between it would be dead space. So, and that right there was kind of, actually leave that there because that's food for thought. And there would be there would be latches and counter latches and all that stuff all through here, keeping the ship connected. And the latches, if you look at how they would be done, they would be something like this and like this. So these side would latch up to the upper hull, and this side would be the lower hull, kind of like a train. And then when the ship retracts, these would swing down like this, and this would swing up like this, and then they would literally close in like that. So they would fall over or be retracted or whatever you want to call it. Basically like a big piston, but it's kind of hard to explain. If you think how they fall to the side, I can't think of anything to tell you how they would function other than explosively. They would just basically like elbows pop off, and one would collapse in on itself and the other one would be pulled up into the upper bay. And you'd have to see it, actually see it, to understand what I'm talking about. I'm just forget what I'm saying here. It's it's stuff that I had to think of when I was setting this up. How would I do it if I had to do it and make it actually work? Because we never see the Sovereign separate. But if we had to separate the Sovereign, this right here would be the separation plane. Right on down through here. Now, I may have done this, or it may have done this, but I'm pretty sure I'm the one that did all this, because I remember working on it. And I remember I got to here, I was like, what now? This is where it comes out of the hull. Whoops, I'll make sure I get the right one there. And then this one's the hull. Whoops, no, this one's the hull one there. So it would come down through here. And that, I gotta be honest with you, is as far as I got. I was like, I'm done. Because it would literally have to come up like this and then around the top of the ship, around the hull. And I think I actually have the outline for it somewhere on here. But yeah, it was just a real nightmare. So I kind of just like, I don't want to work on it anymore. And here I am, you know, a year and a half later, you know, working on it. But the Sovereign's a ship of, you know, something funny. It's a ship of love. You work on the ship because you love to work on it. But it's supposed to be four high decks, not 3 high decks. So these right here should all be 4 high. But our standard is 3. But if we ever decide to change it, it would be 4 high. Reason being is it gives us that little extra space for like cross beams and things like that. But with Minecraft, it's so hard because you're working with a block that's this size, you know, and that's it. That's the size you get, you know. So again, square blocks, round holes. So we work within the physics of Minecraft, and one of the physics of Minecraft, in order to do this, decks have to be a uniform size, and in this case they're 3i. But what's nice is in some areas we can make areas 4 high because we have double sections. And there's, well, I think there's 4 or 5 total in the whole ship, maybe 6 total. So that gives us a lot of room for modifying and tweaking and stuff. Another area that gave me problems when I was working here is this shuttle area where the captain's yacht goes. Had to come through here, and this required a lot of thinking outside of the box because I wasn't sure if that's the shuttle or not. Is that the shuttle or not? Because the model itself wasn't real clear. It was just a bunch of nasty looking blocks and stuff through here, and it was really hard to make sense of everything. So I figured this is the actual shuttle and this is just the room that houses it, because duh, obviously you're not going to have, you got a torpedo launcher right here. You're going to have a way to feed it and everything else, but you also got the captain's yacht right here. How are you going to overcome that? So this was the outer wall, or the wall for the interior space of the captain's yacht. Captain's yacht is here, and then there's an interior bulkhead, and then you have the exterior hull. So believe it or not, we may be able to fit a small corridor down through here. I don't know. Something to think about when we get down that far. This is going to be a really long, time-consuming build. When we get down into it, like all this up through here is completely subject to change. Well, I could literally spend 6 months on this, and then we could just scrap it and start over again. That would be a real pain in the ass if we did that, but, it isn't unheard of. I mean, heck, I tore out entire decks on the Enterprise C when I was working on it because they just weren't working for me. And case in point here, this deck right here was, I was working on this last night before I went to bed. And I did not like the way it was coming together, and what I didn't want to destroy the work because it may not have worked out for me. So I went ahead and pulled it out. The sections that I was working on, I pulled it out and I brought it up here so that I could see it. And I started realizing, yeah, I'm not real happy with the way this looks. It needs to be, especially in this area here, because it's only too high in this area. Now, do we want this area to be utilized for something? Well, in the deck plans it is. It's a shield generator right through here. But the actual shield generator is right here. And this is all support struts. Well, we can't really do that. We have to, in some space where you're going to have to put stuff in two block high areas and work with it. But if I can work around it, I will. But what I did is, this is a forward torpedo launcher according to the deck plans, or it could be a lounge. It doesn't matter which. What I did is I repurposed, I moved this hallway, actually moved it forward considerably, and then redid this so that it's actually further forward than it was up there. You look up there, it's actually comes to about right here. And actually, excuse me, it goes further back because it goes to about right here. And I moved it forward so I'd have more room for this area, because this is like batteries and everything else that goes in here. This is whatever room it is. This is the upper part of the cargo bay for the transporter, which is just a temporary thing. This is not actually going to be here. I'm just mocking it up. Or it could be there, but it may not be this. But we needed a place to store torpedoes. This isn't going to cut it. So I set this up. And this could, if we don't store torpedoes here, we can always use it for another cargo bay. It'd only be 3 high, but it would work. It would work just fine. You'd have a transporter to move materials in it, because there's no way we're going to run a shaft down through here for it. Well, we could. I mean, the computer core is right there. We could easily run a shaft down along the back side of the computer core. It's just up to us what we want to do there. But is it? Yeah, it's right here. But I went through and I reworked this whole area. I even set up these crew quarters here so that they actually looked like crew quarters. Better design, more room, lot more room. And now we can, if we wherever the windows go, the windows can now properly be placed. Because I'm pretty sure this deck actually has windows. And instead of going at an angle, which the angle would come along here like this, I couldn't get that to work and look good in any way, shape, or form. So I decided to just go ahead and have it elbow off, and then kind of follow the contour of the hull back to where it goes too wide down to this gangway here, which leads down to the other parts of the ship. So, and that worked out a lot better for us, because now instead of accessing from this side, they can access the escape pods from both sides. Well, this one anyways. And if we want to, we can set it up for all of them. So they can either access on the outside or the inside now. It's really how we want to set it up. And which is nice, because now you have that there. And it would make sense that, you know, people coming from the lower decks up the gangway would go to the first two escape pods they can get to. So it would be these two. And, you know, then you could set this one up so it actually, you know, is escape pod routed too. So it would be 3. And then these two would be facing inside. Well, this one anyways. Then again, we could also set this one up for it. So it's 2 plus 2. I think there's 5 through here. Yeah, there's 5. But anyways, it made more sense. I'm talking tangent stuff here again. But it made more sense to do it this way. And then I just left this area open, this big area in here, for the shield generator. And I do have a 2-block high shield generator design, so really good. Problem is I can't go down because this actually goes into a vital section of the ship. Now I could redesign this section here easily, but I may or may not. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. But it would make the shield generator 2 decks tall, so I could actually toy around with that. That wouldn't be that hard because it follows the pattern up to that point, and it would just go further back. But it would actually go further back and link up with this, and then, you know what, I might actually explore that. But I kind of like how this follows the hull like this, and I wanted to kind of keep that as much as possible. But you know what, if I have to, where it goes like this, and you know what, let's do that real quick. Let's outline this section up here and see what it looks like from the bottom. If I get up there. Let's actually, yeah, let's just do it from right here. I don't want to like too many blocks in case I decide not to do it. I want to have to spend hours putting them all back into place. And this one would be 1, 2, 1, 2. And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it's 1, 2, then it goes out. So, and this would have to be 3. So you would have, oops, give me back. Darn it. Darn it. Come on. You'd have to be 3. Getting a bit of lag here. Yeah, it could be done. It could be done. Don't mind this. This is just me marking out where the room goes. I'm thinking circular for the shield generators, so this would actually, the pattern up here would actually be rounded. You know, however I could get the pattern to work, it would be round. So, you know, but I'm thinking right in the center of this room would be where the shield generator would actually go. So, and what would happen is I would probably set this. Darn, this has to be crew quarter, or has to be there, because that's there are windows there, I believe. Let's pop out there and take a look real quick. Yeah, there are windows here, but they're down low. So we might be able to do it. What I'll do is I'll pull this. I'll save this section of the ship, and then I'll go ahead and work in a shield generator, multi-level shield generator, and then I'll redesign this area here around that and see what it looks like. And if I don't like it, I'll just plop this area back in, and if I do like it, we'll run with that and get rid of the other area. So anywho, that's how the creative juices work. Yeah, you do what you got to do. I'm not sure what we'll use this dead space in here for. Probably just keep it as, you know, filler. Put our filler blocks in there, whatever they, gosh darn it, whatever they are. Yeah. Anywho, that pretty much wraps it up for this update. Like I said, it's going to be a long process, and none of this is set in stone in any way, shape, or form. It's just, right now it's just completely creative design. and when we get down to the nuts and bolts of actually working on the ship itself, it'll probably get done a lot quicker, knowing that we have a pattern in mind, and that pattern itself will lead the process going through the rest of the ship. So that's the reason why we're doing this. It's the same thing I did with the Voyager, and same thing I did with the Defiant and everything else. Is once we have the patterns and everything looking the way we want them, we can work from there and start, making leaps and bounds as far as getting stuff done. Again, this is the Mindtrack.net game server, and I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. Please hit the like button and or subscribe if you feel up to it. It does help out the channel, and it does help out the server. You have a great day now. Bye.